sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
These vandals on Tesla vehicles and dealerships, give us the consequences there, and what are you learning once they're arrested? Why are they doing this?
Well, you know, we're looking at so much on this. There have been 3 federal charges so far, and I say so far. We are looking at all of these cases across the country. We have a dedicated task force. These are not isolated incidents, as you know, and these aren't vandals. These are Molotov cocktails. You know, that could be a weapon of mass destruction that they're throwing in Tesla dealerships, that they're lighting these Tesla charging stations on fire that are in residential neighborhoods. I mean, it could cause tremendous damages. And people need to know the 3 people in custody right now, they will receive severe and swift consequences, and they are facing up to 20 years in prison. We are not negotiating these. We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. Yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Well, it's ranking member on the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, it's always Congresswoman, pardon me. It's always good to see you, my friend. And I'm going to say, I was looking at you on the monitor while you were listening to Pam Bondi. You seem to be not fazed at all. The Attorney General there, though, is telling you to tread carefully. I'm curious your response, and have some of these protests at Tesla dealerships gone too far?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to say that I participated in a Tesla takedown. That is the name of the website. And it was all about this large protest that they're calling for. And this is a nonviolent protest that they're calling for. And in fact, when I was on there, which is why the Attorney General had to say that I wasn't calling for violence, and it's ridiculous that I even have to say something like that. But because they are trying to twist our words, one of the things that I told people to do is make sure you are adhering to the laws in your area. Make sure you know what it looks like to protest and to be able to raise your voices and to exercise your constitutional right to free speech. And what we see is that they want to dull our free speech rights. They want to make sure that those that are participating.
How the tables hold on though. She made them gather in front of all the Tesla stations. She was the creator of that.
No. She said she was in a different protest where it was a nonviolent protest where they got signs and stood out there.
But did she tell people to stand outside of Tesla Center?
Yeah. She did say that. She said she participated in that.
Hold on though, Jasmine. Do we also know what is going on at some of these Tesla stations though, right? So if you're saying, hey, it's free speech and people have the right to protest, but we know what's happening at these places, right? People getting shot at. They throwing literal, what is it? What did you say it's called?
Mazel tov. It's Molotov.
That's something they use in Call of Duty.
That's what I thought it was.
So
it's Molotov.
If you use the same logic as the liberals when we say she's inciting her.
Yeah. That's exactly what they would say.
If we use their logic, you incited a riot.
I'm just saying, if we know what's been going on there, violence has occurred at these places, and you're telling people that they have the right to be there, then hey.
J6.
Participating in the press because we saw that there have been recent attacks specifically on this news organization. They want y'all to kind of tamp down what you say and hopefully buy into the lies instead of going out there and just telling the truth. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see that Elon Musk, that his money as it relates to Tesla, well, Tesla's tanking right now. And I'm okay with that. Anymore. So just in case the slow people listening decide to click this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever. Yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors, such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
MSNDC. Hold on.
MSDNC.
DNC. Anyways, I can't believe this shit right here. This is
crazy.
insane.
It's crazy. You know, they always they try to flip things in their favor, like they don't do any wrong. But you know, I don't know if you guys saw where she came out and said, yeah, I could be passing legislation, but my number one focus is to oppose Trump.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She said she's not worried about serving her people in good old Dallas, Texas.
So we know her whole job is to go on here and justify the actions of these radical people and justify the failures of the Democrat Party and justify the hills they continue to die on. Like that's her job. That is what they send her out there to do.
Isn't one of their favorite words bipartisanship?
Oh yeah, there's no bipartisanship.
You know what else? Also,
she's already told you. She already came out and said that's not on the table.
Why she don't condemn them people? Like they'll yell at Trump. Condemn them people, Trump. Tell them they're wrong.
She's literally using taxpayer dollars to go and try to fight Trump and Elon instead of actually serve her own people.
Hey, but we
and
know
then they
why.
say, why don't we win? Why can't we win an election? Why aren't the people on our side?
Why they
focused on the wrong stuff?
That's facts.
We know why though. We saw the polls. This is what their party wants.
Why they just don't come?
This is why they're losing, because they can't win. They're literally in an unwinnable situation right now.
Yeah.
Why they just don't come with a bill that that y'all want to push with the party and try to negotiate that to happen?
I don't know.
That's
everything bad, they gonna blame Trump. It's raining outside. Oh, it must be Trump's fault. I was literally in the car today with somebody, and it was just like a completely unrelated problem. So it must be due to Trump. I was like, everything's Trump's fault. The lightning, the rain, the mud, the traffic.
I guess it's Trump's fault that you're making bad decisions.
He was on to something.
Right. We didn't know.
We didn't know. We were still, young in our
our mind
journey. This is how I know God is real. Because I was literally about to go to a sleep doctor because I really struggled to sleep.
He was.
And then we actually just happened to,
ran across Beam.
Find out about Beam. And so I was okay, I'll try this first. And it has literally solved my problem. Like, I think the biggest keys here are, what are the ingredients? We got the melatonin, the magnesium, and the theanine. All of those combined, because I've heard of all these things separately, but when you combine them all, it's like you get in the bed and you feel like something's weighing you down. Like, that's how you don't feel like moving. And then you wake up and I
remember you said that I felt like I sunk in the bed.
That's how I felt. Yeah. And it helps me relax my mind before I get to bed. So, you can turn on some Cartier Family, lay down, hit the Beam, go to sleep. All right, guys. So what you want to do is go to beam.com and put in the discount code Cartier, and that's going to get you 35% off. That's not no little discount. That is a big discount, y'all. Beam is really blessing. It's a company that, has value similar to ours, and they really just want to help. So 35% off with the code Cartier.
Tread carefully. What does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything, because they are willing to literally break the law. I mean, that's what we've seen them do. They are ignoring court orders. They are ignoring what our own laws are. When we look at things such as impoundment, things like that, this entire administration is rogue. And this isn't about partisanship. I keep trying to tell people that we are living in the time of good versus evil, right versus wrong. Wow. And right now, when we are looking at the black letter of the law and they are deciding, I'm just going to ignore it, then they are wrong. That is clear as day. And right now, they are going after anyone who decides that they will challenge them, whether it's the judges that are sitting on the benches, whether it is lawyers that have decided that they were going to represent their clients to the best of their ability, and most of them won against Trump and his administration. Basically, they are trying to get rid of all voices of dissent.
Wow.
Okay, well, let's pick up on right versus wrong, because a new memo from the Trump administration in part directs the heads of the Justice and Homeland Security departments to seek sanctions against attorneys and law firms who engage in frivolous, unreasonable, and vexatious litigation. I've never used the word vexatious, but there you go, against the United States, or in matters that come before federal agencies. And I remind viewers, you are a trained lawyer. So in your legal expertise, is this memo by President Trump legal?
I mean, listen, he can write as many memos as he wants to write. I mean, a memo is just a memo. But as it relates to the guidance that they are trying to lay out for the Department of Justice, again, this is them going rogue. We already have provisions that lay out when someone should be able to go after someone and determine that they are vexatious or determine that they are bringing frivolous lawsuits, and therefore there should be sanctions. That's normal. I mean, listen, I've got plenty of crazies that love to sue, so I completely understand it. I completely agree with it, and ultimately it is up to the judge to determine. But here's the thing: the Trump administration is losing. There are over 100 cases going on right now, and what we see is that we've got people like Attorney General James in New York that is winning. So what did he do in retaliation? He decided that he wanted to strip her of her security clearance. Same thing with Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg was the one that was able to end up making this president a felon by having the audacity to go forward on these 34 felony cases that now he is convicted of. And ultimately he was convicted by a jury. And he had the opportunity to have terrible lawyers. He's always had terrible lawyers that lose their...
God, who elected this lady, man. She literally says what the Democrats want to hear.
I'm lost at why Alvin Bragg and Letitia James need security clearance. Like, if their whole purpose of their job is to oppose him and make his job difficult, why the hell would they have access to classified documents so they can succeed in what they're doing? Literally what she's doing is advocating for the people who are trying to make this administration's job harder. And really, I don't see what we gain from that as citizens. Like, if their goal is to make America better for American citizens, why are y'all making that a difficult process? I mean, the American people spoke on election day.
They voted for it.
Why are you guys doing everything in your power to oppose that? Kamala lost, and she's been a no-show since then. Even she's keeping her mouth shut. But now y'all taking it upon yourselves to try to campaign and make it look like you guys are fighting for something. But I've yet to understand what you guys have accomplished.
They're campaigning.
And they told us 2 years that they had all the power and still didn't do nothing.
They didn't do shit, dude.
And just gave money away.
They didn't do a single thing, and it's crazy. Like they just choose every unpopular hill to die on. They have no identity right now. This party is spiraling. To me, it seems like this party is in a free for all, and every single congressman and politician on the Democrat side is just trying to assert themselves as the one that's going to beat Trump. But from my end, and what I've seen in the last 40 days of Trump's administration, they're in a losing battle. There's no one has the charisma and the gall and the capability to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I see why they say that she's their only warrior, because she's literally just spewing.
The only one talking.
Her and AOC.
Well, they would have an argument. I would at least listen to the argument of the security clearance thing if they didn't do it to Trump. But you did it to a former president, and now these people who really are low-level politicians, they really don't have as much. They don't need this clearance. You take them off, knowing that they're openly saying they're going to go after the president. But y'all did the same thing to him. You don't have an argument because y'all literally did the exact same thing.
It's just, I mean, there's people in these comments too that actually think what she's saying is just so.
Well, they're the viewers of this channel.
It's just confusing to me, man.
We gotta also sit down and think about this. I know I keep saying this. We keep seeing money getting poured in to our nation. Literally.
We have. There's another couple $1 billion. I was actually just looking at that.
There's a bunch.
So
today. Several
several
companies.
We ain't see that on the Biden.
Steel industry coming back.
Why not though?
I don't know, man.
He ran a great economy, man.
Bidenomics.
Yeah, bro.
Their bar cards, and just so that everybody knows, listen, you can go and Google Rudy Giuliani. He lost his bar card as well as he lost all of his money. I still have all of my bar cards, so I'm gonna just put that out there. So, who knows what will happen if they continue to go down this road. And I do applaud those lawyers that have worked for the Department of Justice and said, you know what, my oath means something. And so I am going to honor that oath, and I am going to leave this office because I will not violate the law. I will not violate my oath. I will hold on to my bar card. And we will see how many people in this Department of Justice are able to maintain their bar cards if they're going to continue to do these rogue things and ignore judges.
Fannie had to pay a fee.
Let me ask you about the New York
DOJ have to
Times, which
answer
reports
the
the
judges?
IRS is preparing to reach an agreement with ICE to help locate immigrants for deportation by handing over and not just verifying.
I don't want to.
Anything they prepares help
hold
to
on.
find immigrants targeted. Wait. So the IRS is going to help find them to deport them
Yes,
or to not deport them?
Look, she was saying how they're about to do it. I actually think this is a good thing.
IRS is preparing to reach an agreement with ICE to help locate immigrants for deportation by handing over and not just verifying home addresses for people who've been ordered to leave the United States. These are undocumented immigrants who are paying taxes in this country. Is this going to just force more people to live in the shadows?
What's done in the dark will come to
Alex,
light.
you can't make this up. Listen. Okay, there are those of us that believe in the humanity of things and believe in doing things in due order. Okay. But here's the deal. You've painted these people as like the demons. And so it's like, we got to get the demons that are dangerous and ruining our country out of here, right? But you're going to the IRS. You know why? Because undocumented people have been contributing up to $100 billion in taxes. So now if you're going to say, you know what? And mind you, these people are told that if you are here undocumented, you are still required to pay taxes. And so guess what? We get up to $100 billion a year in tax revenue from these people. And now you're saying, you know what? Go ahead and violate privacy laws, even though they are trying to contribute to this country. So guess what? People are going to go into the shadows. That's more money that we're going to lose. And we know that he has no intentions of going to his billionaire buddies to go and get that tax revenue.
There we go.
So this is yet another instance of how incompetent they are.
She's not.
Because if we lose those dollars, remember,
bro.
Undocumented people do not collect on Social Security, but they pay into a system that helps to make sure that we can keep Social Security solvent.
Oh my God.
I tell you, I always love our conversations, and this one, yet another one of the books. Thank you very much, Jasmine Crockett. Good to
I
see
hate
you.
these people actually, though, man.
If they did pay taxes, I feel like they should get paid back if they're getting kicked out.
Hell no.
I feel like that's fair.
Hell no.
I feel like that's fair.
Hell no.
You said paid back? What you mean?
He said they should get their tax dollars back before they get deported. Hell
You
no.
lived here for a period of time. I mean,
Hell no.
you lived here.
Hell
so
no.
you
They
gotta-
said
why the hell we gonna do
that what
that?
she said is true.
Hell no.
That's a what?
That they do
They
pay
said
taxes.
they did pay $100 billion in taxes to undocumented immigrants.
Okay, well, what we supposed to do about that?
Listen. You're here illegally. Just because you broke the law 20 years ago and you haven't broken another law since doesn't negate the fact that you broke the law 20 years ago.
That is an argument, though. I will admit.
We just got to keep it 100.
But it's like
Just cause,
you're
I broke the law 20 years. I
illegal.
haven't broken any law since, but I broke that law. I haven't getting punished, but now they caught me for breaking that law 20 years ago. Are they gonna let me go? No.
Like-
Yeah,
All right
but
then.
like,
All
Okay,
right
so
if he
let's
has
talk-
to pay into the system and they still can't stay here,
they-
I
they-
feel like
hold on.
They
I feel like
they illegally
should
brought
get
their ass
bread
into
back.
the system.
I can
No,
give
no,
that
no,
argument.
no,
I
are
can
y'all
see that's
saying
an
that
argument.
because
So
they pay
y'all
taxes?
think they should get their money back?
Yes.
Hell no, but that's hell no. But y'all
If
saying-
they're paying to a
but-
system they can't stay in, that's crazy.
Hold on,
They
hold
brought
on,
they
hold
brought
on.
themselves here.
Illegally though.
All
but
right then, then you sacrifice that tax money.
I
Hold on,
understand.
hold on.
Bye.
Are you saying because they pay taxes, that means that they're an upstanding good citizen, right?
No.
But they.
I'm trying to figure out, like,
but-
I'm saying if you're paying taxes, like I usually see it as the taxpayers do contribute. So I mean,
But I'm
if
saying,
you
but
contributed,
you still broke the law, though.
I mean, smoking
they
weed is
said-
breaking the law.
It's some
Like,
people.
you know.
It's some
But
people
it's
that
like,
bring it.
that's different, brother.
They
We don't-
paid taxes though. That's
We
kind
don't
of
have-
They taxpayers. They tax money
You don't-
went towards.
I
If
just-
you're
I'm
illegal,
keeping it real.
do you have Social Security?
I don't know.
If you don't have Social Security, then you can't. You're
How do you
not
pay taxes
American.
without that?
I don't know.
They have other ways.
That's what I'm saying. Is she talking about like?
They pay taxes from like their money they make.
That's
Other than
Like
self.
that.
so.
When they get
That's what I'm
paid.
saying though. Is she talking about like UPS workers or something? Like you
I
know
don't
how
know.
they
I
get
don't
a
know.
tax?
But I even looked it up on Grok.
Everybody
It
gets
didn't
taxed.
confirm
Every-
what she said.
I don't think they're going-
If you get a salary,
They
from
probably
a
getting a
job,
W-2
If you get a
Yeah.
salary,
That's
nah,
what
they
it is.
probably
If
get
they're
they
getting a
probably get
W-2
1099s.
or
Or-
1099.
Look, I don't think
Okay.
they're actually going
1099.
to a tax person and filing taxes.
Well, they might be.
They paid $100 billion in total.
If you're making a 1099, you can do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it.
That
100.
means you're an independent contractor, you're a contract
they-
worker, and if they're illegals, then they can the employer can legally pay them less through a 1099 contract because legally you did pay your worker and legally they did get an income, and through a 1099 they can report income. A W-2 shows you're like it's like different than a 1099. Like a 1099 is for contract workers.
Yeah, I'm sorry though. To me though,
It is a
in my
point. It's a
opinion,
slight point.
that
It
is
is.
a point. That is an argument for them to. I don't know if
To
it's
run off.
stay here or get money back, but it is.
You
an
might have
argument.
to give them their
I
money
don't know.
back.
I don't
I'm
think
giving-
I don't
that's-
think they should get their
Nah,
money
nah,
back.
They paid into the system, bro.
So what?
So
Their money
They
contribute. Their money got sent away too.
They illegally came into the
Keeping it
system.
how I think.
Yeah, but they still work, you know.
So you have to work to survive.
What they work went in towards the system. I feel like they should at least get somewhat of their money back
think, yeah.
or
But how
fight
they
for
gonna
the
do that?
system.
Nah.
They should be
That's the thing
be able
about-
to be a citizen if that
We
happened.
don't know how they're
Like,
getting,
y'all not gonna
paying
like
the tax.
that, but I mean, I'm just saying, you know.
No, I mean, I
They
see,
got
I,
taxed,
I see
though.
where y'all saying. Like, I see where
They
y'all
got
coming
taxed.
from. But me personally, I don't
Bro,
really care for illegal
Everybody
immigrants.
gets taxed. If you have a job in America,
Everybody
you
don't
get
pay
taxed.
taxes though.
If you work at UPS, I'm thinking they're getting taxed at UPS.
But
or
that's what I'm saying.
ATD.
Okay, so if you are contributing to society and you're paying taxes, that's not really the people I don't think we should be focused on deporting, in my opinion. It should be like the MS-13 people and all that. But if you're contributing to America's economy, you're paying taxes. To me, that's
should have a
not
fighting
a
chance.
You are not illegal in your opinion.
They should at least have a
So
fighting
is
chance.
that
Maybe, yeah.
I ain't gonna say make them legal,
Hey,
but they
that's
should have a
fine.
better
If you
fighting
have a job,
chance.
that's why
I'm with people who contribute to America.
Okay,
people
look.
who come and you contribute to the economy, you help the economy. Then
Look.
to me, that's not a problem.
That's why my first question was: if you pay taxes, do you believe they're an upstanding citizen?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm
I
asking.
can't judge who's an
I know,
upstanding
I'm just
citizen
saying though,
or
but
not.
is that like okay? He pays taxes.
I think
so
if you commit a
he's not
violent
bad
crime
guy.
or something like that, selling
should
drugs,
leave. Yeah, you
violent
gotta
crime,
go.
short lease, you're gone. But I mean, if you haven't
That
done
was
none of
their-
that,
they're
if
the
you're sitting
number
here,
one priority.
The only thing you did was you came over here 20 years ago with your family and you've been living a regular life, paying taxes this whole time. I do think that's wrong for you to be deported. Sorry.
Oh,
20 years?
there was a couple in
Yeah.
Cali that's been in Cali for 30 years that got deported.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Keep it 100.
Have they been
Sorry.
paying taxes? If
Yeah,
you-
hell
if-
yeah, they were living completely
I
normal.
feel like they should get a refund.
Well, they gone.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna
They
keep it.
gone.
I'm gonna be realistic about
too.
that. If
Yeah,
they
I
paid
like
into the
that.
system,
I see what y'all saying.
if they paid into
No,
the
no, no.
system,
I see what y'all saying.
It's a slightly.
I see what y'all saying.
it's not a lot of them that's
You're
doing it.
contributing. You're
No, it's
contributing
definitely a
to
lot
the
of them
pot.
that's
You're
doing
putting
that.
your money
That's
in the
paid for
pot.
$100 billion. You think that's not a lot of people?
That's a lot of
Are you
people.
delusional?
No, that is a lot. 100.
So that is
That's
an
a lot of
argument.
If we
people.
looking on like the immigration scale of like how Poland is, your ass is getting kicked out of Poland.
Facts. Whether
You're
you
getting
paid
kicked
or
out
not.
anyway.
Yeah, but this
so
is-
I mean, be
it's a-
real. Saying that is slightly liberal. It is.
No, it's not. It's
keep
not
it
liberal.
hundred.
It's not
I'm saying
liberal.
what I
I
think.
mean, I see what they're saying. Like,
It
like,
be
like,
what it is.
like
I'm
from
just- I'ma say what
from
I
a
think.
standpoint, if they are contributing to the greater good of society, I see what he's saying. But
do too.
me
I do
personally, I just,
But if we
I
talking
really
about
have
the
no
facts-
sympathy for illegal immigrants.
but that's-
Like they broke the law. I'm not finna just say, oh, just because you didn't break any laws from the time you broke the law, it's okay. To me, that's not okay.
Yeah,
and
you
to
know
me,
it's a chance,
to me
you know,
personally,
so-
anyone who comes to America and doesn't consider themselves an American, and you put yourself on the outside, I really don't have
Yeah,
no
that's what I'm
sympathy
saying.
for you.
If we went to a different country and then just started to live there and didn't get any citizenship papers, and they say, "Hey, buddy, I'm
But
sorry."
you had to have some
have
type of papers to pay
look up.
taxes.
Okay, say if I was working on
No, you
I
don't.
was-
You just need a 1099.
I was throwing boxes.
That's a
Like,
paper.
I was throwing boxes for 20 years, and they said, "Buddy, you don't got nothing. You gotta go." I mean, that you know.
But that's kind of different if you
kinda
actually
how I
paying
see it.
taxes.
Brother, but they
It's
could be
niggas that's
getting-
living in America all their life and
We just
never
have different
paid.
opinions.
They're
Y'all
not
opinion, we got
going
ours.
to the tax person, bro. They're taking
They
off,
have
they
to.
have a $300 check.
They have
and
to.
They getting and they company probably taking off $50 on tax. I think that's how they contributed to taxes. There's no way they're going to a tax person. You need a Social Security and you need a.
They
some
could
type
pay
of-
a temporary
Don't you need
Social Security
to work to
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah, you
I
have
don't
to have
know.
a
Some states you don't.
Say it
Like LA,
again.
you
Say it
don't.
again.
don't
Say
know.
it again. What was the question?
Don't you need a
Say-
social security to pay
get a job.
taxes?
Yeah.
Basically.
No, you don't. You can pay through a visa.
Well,
You can
I
pay
don't know
through-
then.
there's certain
Visa
doc-
means you're illegal though.
Nah.
If they file
there's certain,
taxes,
there's
bro.
certain documents that you can
kinda
file
hard.
taxes.
That's
on.
how I
mean,
see it,
it
y'all.
depend on-
Y'all
no,
can
we
eat
gon-
me
we
up.
gon- look,
Y'all can say whatever.
it's okay, bro. They not- it's
on this
alright, bro.
channel, I say what
Yeah,
I think, no
that's why
matter
we do.
what.
That's why we here. That's why we here.
Listen, and I'm not mad at y'all thought process. The way you look at it, I can see why you would say that. But to me personally, just based on my strong anti-illegal immigrant stance, I
see
just
either
think
way,
like if they
but
get deported,
if we
bye.
looking at-
that's
if we
tough.
looking at the
you
facts-
knew you ran the risk of being deported when you came here.
Yeah, if we looking at the
whether
facts,
whether
I
you
see
broke
it
the law or
though.
not, and I see what y'all saying. Like, yeah, they paid into the system. Yeah, they didn't break any other rules. But look, this is what we voted for.
'Cause
you're illegal. You're on the chopping block.
This might
That's
sound
what Tom
bad,
Holman
but
said.
If you, well, I'm not gonna say that.
No, say it.
I mean, if you in America and you just soaking up tax dollars, living on welfare, you're not contributing at all. So if
Facts.
you go, I don't give a damn, and that's
I'm
a
not
lot
mad.
of. So I'm sorry.
Me personally, I'd
you
rather
are
see
soaking up my tax money while they are bringing tax money. So who should go to me? The one who is taking my dollar, or the one who's helping it?
I'm gonna keep it 100.
I see it.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I see that point, but to me personally,
So
I'd rather
give them their money back.
I'd rather an American person who's born in America soak up tax dollars than someone who came here illegally. Me
Yeah,
personally.
well, they contributed.
They
I
paid
still don't
into the
care.
system.
I'm anti-illegal immigrant. I'm anti-illegal immigrant.
You gotta pay for their lazy asses. I don't know.
I'd rather
man.
pay for an American-born lazy ass than an illegal.
Yeah,
period.
I just see it differently.
That's just me personally.
Yeah,
I really don't care if they come here and work hard. You came here illegally. You broke the law. Is the law matter? Like we got thousands of dudes in jail right now that broke the law, and I'm sure some of them can make a case for being free. But these niggas came in here illegally. So whether they broke the law since then or not, you broke the law.
Y'all might make America, and we might make Poland. You know,
I'm just saying.
You know,
Real shit.
And who's greater?
Poland's a smaller country.
It's
I'm
just
just
however
saying.
you views.
America's still the greatest country in the world.
No, yeah,
So
I know that.
We're the most powerful
I
country in
just
the
feel
world.
like if you paying taxes, they should give them a fighting chance.
But
to
you
stay
know,
in
they
America.
get something.
You had to. You paying into the
That's what I'm
system,
thinking,
bro.
bro.
That's
You have-
kind of
they
hard.
have-